Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And in this video, I'll be walking you through the action on auction day for the IPL. And today was the auction day is always something that we all look forward to, especially personally for me. The adrenaline kind of building up from the previous day. I really kind of want to fast forward to it because fast forward to when it will start because uh, different teams go in with different objectives, and despite the fact that there's this mega auction once every 3 years, and for this in this situation, the same squad's actually it's been extended for another year. So the mega auction will be in 2022 when two more teams are introduced, and so yeah, that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to. But I'm saying even then, you see the high profile picks that are there every year, and many people become millionaires every year, and so that's the reason why that there are a lot of life-changing experiences even for people who go for like 5 crores, like the domestic players. And that's why there's also that aspect, and also just seeing different players go to different teams, and seeing how the dynamics of each side gets changed. And as I said, each team had their own agendas, and so actually, I thought that each team would actually be pretty happy with what they did. And I know there's a thing where that would usually be the case, and then you'd get to the actual tournament, and then you see the things that are wrong with it. But um, I honestly didn't think that there were many things wrong. I mean, I will get to a few things here and there, but generally, I thought that everyone would be satisfied. And so the thing is, so starting off, I'm going to start off with the Delhi Capitals because I thought that they actually really bought this array of players. So you look at the high profile ones, you look at Steve Smith, Umesh Yadav, there was also Sam Billings as well. And apart from them, I mean, those are the three. There's also Vishnu Vinod, the Kerala opening batsman who also played for RCB before in 2017. And there was also Ripan Patel. I mean, I think that's his name. Ashwin actually mentioned him on the day before the auction happened. So yesterday, he actually mentioned him on his YouTube channel. And there was also this other seamer who they actually Delhi Capitals both bought. And so I feel they also bought Manimaran Siddharth as well, and I saw on his record that he'd actually got 16 wickets in 6 games and a counting rate of 4.95. And plus, I've seen him in the TNPO as well, so I know he's good. And so they really bought in a way that, yes, they have such a good core already, and they bought these players. And you look at them and you think, will any of them be for the starting 11? And you're probably going to think no. And luckily, so first of all, I was very surprised that Steve Smith went to Delhi Capitals, but I thought it was a better off situation than what may have happened with one of the most awkward biddings by RCB. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that they maybe wanted to initiate some kind of a bidding war to drain the other teams' purse. But apart from that, if no one else had bid and Steve Smith had gone to RCB, I mean, even if Smith had protested afterwards, I mean, I would have probably not said anything because, you know, especially with the fact that you have him and Kohli in the same team, and yet one of them is sitting out, and it would have been really awkward. And yeah, that's the reason why I'm very happy that Delhi Capitals bid and Steve Smith went to them. And so, where can he play? On the Quick Buzz Live panel, they brought this topic up, which I thought okay because I thought despite the fact that it wouldn't really be a preferable thing, they may still do it. So the thing they said was maybe him for Hetmeyer if let's say if you need someone to hold the innings together with, if you look at, let's say, like you could adapt the situation. So if you really want to get some big runs, you may take the putting Hetmeyer as well to give the extra hitter. And if it's a kind of a more neutral pitch, or maybe it's even a pitch where a slower track, something like that. I mean, this is just me adding on to this. You may put Steven Smith in at 3 because Shreya said, people may think he isn't a power hitter, but he can he can place his shots, and especially when he muscles the spinner. I mean, he can definitely score positively in that number 4 slot if Steven Smith plays at number 3. And that would mean that if you look at this, it'd probably be Rishabh Pant 5 and Marcus Stoinis 6. So it would still be a very good batting lineup, and Steve Smith would fit in there. But preferably they would like to give Shreyas Iyer a bit more time, I feel, so he could bat as 3. And I think that, it depends. I mean, either hit Mayo or punt at 4 or 5, and Marcus Stoinis at 6, despite the fact that we saw that, he does very well opening, but considering who they have and team combinations, they may just find it easier to slot Marcus Stoinis at number 6, because you also get the bowling option as well, and he can finish the innings. And so that's the thing. So Delhi Capitals, I honestly think they're looking very settled, and I was surprised that Umesh Yadav only went for just over a crore, and I really thought that any team could have bid for him, because you see Mumbai Indians, maybe this thing of local fast bowlers, they could have bid for him. I thought Kings 11. I mean, this was a bit of a stretch. It was just kind of a personal bias where I thought maybe. I understand this to be a very big gamble, and it's understandable they didn't do this, but I thought that Mohammad Shami and Umesh Yadav could, you see how good test bowlers they are for India, and so maybe if Mohammad Shami, with the momentum he picked up bowling at the death from last season, if he could do, same or similar to that, then him and Umesh Yadav would just be good to watch in terms of 2 test bowlers bowling in the new ball. But that was just, as you can see, it was a bit of, it didn't really take into the account, the reality of things. And I did understand that. And so that's why I wasn't surprised they didn't bid for him. RCB wasn't surprised, obviously. I mean, clearly, it hasn't really, apart from 2018, it really hasn't worked out for Umesh Yadav there. And so that's the reason why, Delhi Capitals, for them, they've got this, Indian seamer, and you saw they had Tushar Deshpande, who was inexperienced before last season. And so, getting, instead of him having Umesh, I mean, it's a very good thing. And that's the reason why you look at Delhi Capitals, with their bowling attacks that they've got and everything. I really think that, they are looking very good, and I reckon they can really. If last season you saw how well they did, but you just saw that Mumbai Indians are a bit too good for them, and they may even be a bit too good for them this season. But I'm saying that definitely you can see. I would think there'd be an even better performance from the Delhi Capitals than there was in the previous season. And as you can see, they got to qualify to 2019, the final 2020. Who knows? Maybe the next thing in the sequence will follow. And that's the Delhi Capitals. And the thing is, it'll actually be that you look at Ajinkya Rahane and Steven Smith, in the end, in Rajasthan rules, it was kind of thought when one plays, the other shouldn't play because it's an inconvenience. Then Steve Smith was made captain, and then Ajinkya Rahane was traded to Delhi Capitals, and now Steven Smith, they wanted a new start from Steve Smith, so now he's gone to Delhi Capitals. The thing is, both of them probably won't be, first choice picks. And so, that would just be, especially... That's the thing. They won't be first choice. So the thing is, they actually followed the same path in the end. So that was just a thing on them, and so that was on the Delhi Capitals. I think it's an excellent squad. And then I'm gonna come to another team, KKR. And KKR, they bought Shakib for 3.2 crores. I think I thought it was a steal. I mean, I honestly thought because you look at maybe for Sunil Narayan, something like that. I mean, possibly that could be the reason. And also they bought Ben Cutting as an Andre Russell replacement, which was an excellent, I thought very intelligent by him. Especially, I think he's the best technical 6-hitter in the world. And so honestly, there can be no like-for-like replacement for Andre Russell, but getting someone who hits even bigger sixes than Russell does, honestly. And as I said, technically the best 6-hitter in the world. Simply, you see him and Chris Lynn. With they kind of employ this thing by having a wide base and swinging through the line. And I honestly think that he's very entertaining player to watch when he bats, and he can bowl a bit. I understand that they would want Russell to be playing, to be fit for the whole tournament, because honestly, in the bowling sense, I think that they would lose out if Ben Cutting played instead of Andre Russell, but still a very good kind of a thought that they had. And Karun Nair I was very surprised, honestly. I mean, I thought he would get picked by someone. I just couldn't think who. I just thought maybe Kings 11 would just buy him back for an extremely cheap price. But KKR bought him at his base price. And I'm very surprised, honestly, because I never saw him actually playing for them. I'm not sure we'll get a game, but he may get a game at the top of the order, thinking that in KKR they actually rely on 3 Indian players, so you could kind of interchange him maybe, but I'm not sure. And the most surprising buy was Harbhajan Singh. Now, if the IPL, if the games are played as normal, and by as normal mean in each team's respective venues, so 7 games home, 7 games away. I mean, really, the only places you could get a game would be Chennai, Delhi, Rajasthan, and Hyderabad. As I said, sometimes it's good for batting, sometimes it's slow. So maybe Hyderabad. So 4 places, and that's it. So you get 4 games in the entire season. And I honestly thought him putting 2 crores for his base price was a bit of a stretch, and it's probably the reason why. Yes, because maybe his age also and lack of cricket also comes into it as well. But I understand why teams didn't pick him the first time round, and yeah, very surprised that they picked him. But maybe just because they were looking for this experienced Indian spinner, and the fact is that he has experience bowling in the Mumbai track, so he definitely would know how to. Maybe, as I said, he may not be the same bowler as before, but they may still be able to get something out of him. So yeah, that was Harbhajan Singh. And KKR, honestly, they didn't have to really buy many players, but I feel that it was an intelligent day at the auction from them, and I really thought that they did well. Then there's Sunrisers. Now Sunrisers, actually, for a long time they had bought, they tried to buy Shivam Dubey, but he went for 4.4 crores to RR, and then they bought Jagdisha Sutit, and I thought it was just in an attempt to fill that kind of all-rounder role, and that they were looking for Shivam Dubey. But the thing is, they were looking for more the batting side, and in the end, in Jagdisha Sutit, they have basically, they've got more of a bowler, and so then I thought they bought, and they actually didn't buy many players at all, but I thought that they bought an excellent option in Kedar Jadhav. And the thing is that seeing him play last season, you may think, well, it isn't great. And also the fact that I really thought, once again, it was a bit of a stretch. He listed his base price at 2 crores. But you look, I also thought that, I said in this, the auction, kind of when I was walking through the releases, I said that he may go to Rajasthan Royals. I actually thought he was going to go to Rajasthan Royals, but he went to Sunrisers, which I also think is a viable option, and I think it was a very good thing from them because this experienced middle order batsman can also provide some bowling, and so they needed Indian middle order batsmen, and that's what they got. And so, and more than in a more experienced kind of to make sure to give you some kind of thing that they know what they're doing. And I'm not saying the others don't, but you can get what I'm saying, that he has played for India before, and it would definitely be another help for them that they've got this kind of all-round option. And yeah, honestly, Mujibur Rahman was also bought, meaning the three Afghanistan players are on the same team. I thought there was kind of a nice touch. He probably may not get a game, but if he does, it'd be very entertaining to see them both bowl together. I mean, the possibility of all 3 of them getting a game for me is just at the same time is ruled out, but let's just see how it goes. It's very good, especially even for them. They can kind of just, they'll feel very happy that them 3 are in the same team. And so that was Sunrisers. Didn't really have to do much. I think they only had 10 point something crores to do, spend, and again, they did what they did. Then there was Kings 11. Now, with 53.2 crores, I think you'd expect something, and this is where I said, I'll get to, when I talked about teams being happy about their picks, I said I'd get to something, and this is the thing. This isn't just in an emotion. This isn't just in a ranty fan sense, because a lot of people they still said, I saw that they said the Kings 11 weren't really good, especially in live stream chats when you looked at Crickbus Live and ESPN Cricinfo, and usually I'd kind of think, well, they're just ranting on, but the thing is, and even then a lot of those opinions are true, and the thing is, I actually agreed with them, because you look 53.2 crores and everyone's thinking, oh, they can just really go and get who they want. Did they really solve? I mean, I understand with the bowling, I think that they did, because they got Joy Richardson 14 crores, but you've seen how good he is in the Big Bash, so I wasn't surprised that he went for that much. I mean, I was surprised he went for 14 crores, but I knew he'd go for a lot of money. And Joy Richardson, Riley Meredith, excellent fast bowler who can bowl 150 k's an hour. And yeah, I really felt happy for him that he got selected for the IPL, and I wasn't surprised that he was either. And so Kings 11 got both of them. So they have really some good fast bowling stocks with Mohammad Shami, those two, Chris Jordan, who had an excellent T10, and also Arshdeep Singh, who bowled very well in the last season. And so, especially with their two wrist spinners who are excellent, I actually think that their bowling is pretty good. The only problem that they do have, I mean, this is the thing, they have the best top four in the entire tournament with Lokesh Rahul, Mayank Agarwal. Oh, I think I said the Kings 11 again. Sorry, I meant the Punjab Kings. I kind of have to get used to that. They have Lokesh Rahul, Mayank Agarwal, Chris Gale at 3, and Nicholas Puran at 4. Now that's easily the best top four in this tournament, and you'd be thinking win in capital letters be written all over anything that they do, but especially the fact that and especially this season, the fact that their bowling has been, improved with the fast bowlers that they've brought in. But unfortunately, they still have this kind of a problem where, I mean, not a problem because they have got Shah Rukh Khan, who, I'm very happy that he's got, an IPL contract, because seeing him for, especially batting for Laika Kobe Kings in the TNPL, he, in the confidence that he's shown in that and the domestic season, I really think that, he deserved an IPL contract and 5.5 crores, I think. I was surprised that Kings 11 bought him. I thought someone else would buy him and maybe, he would bat, higher up the order, because at this case you'd probably have to bat at like number 5 minimum, because you wouldn't really tinker with, the other 4. But Shah Rukh Khan got bought by Kings 11, and the thing is that if he comes good, I think they'll be okay. I just feel like the number 6 slot, they'll still, if one of the domestic players has a good season, I still think they'll be okay. But we saw that last season, we saw that the others couldn't really carry their weight, and so it was a bit of a problem. So I think honestly, if Shah Rukh Khan 5, Deepak Hooda 6, if he plays, then I think that'll be very good for them. And if they come off, I really think that this Kings 11 team would have been good. The reason why I'm saying, I thought it was a bit kind of, this is the thing. So sorry, Punjab Kings. So 53.2 crores. And you'd think they'd really go well, but did they really? Was it a 53.2 crore kind of thing that went on to it? And just no, it wasn't. And that's why I'm saying that it felt a bit weird to see that their problem. Because sometimes, I say problem because you do have to rely on domestic players, in the IPL, and so I wouldn't really call it a problem, but it's definitely something that proved them, it proved to be a disadvantage, especially compared to the best team in the tournament, Mumbai Indians, who you saw how the fact that, how good their lower order, that middle to lower order is, that they can still get the runs, and the team has faith in them to get the run. The top order has faith that the lower to middle order, the middle to lower order will get the runs. And so that's the reason why I feel that these domestic players coming off for Kings 11 will really mean that even that problem kind of gets ironed out, and this will be a very exciting team to watch in this season. Then there's RCB. Now RCB, I honestly thought they did okay. I did feel that they obviously had, there's kind of a bidding war between CSK and RCB, and I actually thought CSK benefited from, it was a win-win. RCB get Maxwell, CSK managed to get 2 all-rounders, and so definitely I thought it was a win-win for both teams, and they got Maxwell. There was, Maxwell said that he would like to play for RCB before, just I think a few days before the auction, and I wasn't surprised that he got selected, because it all seemed on the cards as, a number 5, after Kohli and AB de Villiers. Maxwell, perfectly slots in at that position. And also the thing is, they also spent 15 crores on Kyle Jamieson. Now the thing is, he actually only came around when India toured New Zealand, and this was just before the first lockdown. So in the UK, so before the 23rd of March lockdown, India toured New Zealand, and they whitewashed the T20 series, but they got whitewashed in the ODIs, and they also lost the Test 2-0 as well. But I'm saying Kyle Jamieson, kind of arose in this tour, and we've seen he's been, as far as he's a tool bowler, and he bowls well. And as far as batting is concerned, he's more seen as batting in Test cricket. And so what I'm saying is that I'm saying all this, but the thing is, 15 crores really, it just, I don't really think that it was an ideal thing to happen. I honestly just think 15 crores was a bit overpaid. I mean, I understand everyone was going for him. There was this kind of hype about him, and he is a good player, but I really don't think that it was very ideal spending that much money for him because you honestly, let's face it, they honestly don't know how it's gonna work out. And like it'll be interesting to see how he kind of gels with the bowling attack that they have, and maybe if he bats at that number 7 to see how his batting goes. And so that's why I'm saying it's a bit of a, you don't know how this is gonna go. That's why it may go well, which meaning it was worth the money spent. And for RCB, if they win even this trophy, this year, for them they kind of care about winning in that particular year because they realize that it's a thing that they really want to get this. There's such an expectation for them to win, and so they're not, they're honestly. They're not in that situation where they can say we can buy a player and let them mature for these 2 or 3 years, because while there would be some kind of a thinking, they would keep on. There would also be this fact that they haven't won for those years, and that's the reason why I feel like RCB are a team that really looks at the present when they're buying, and so I can understand the fact that if it does work out, it'll be very good. And yeah, I'm just thinking it'll be interesting to see how it goes because honestly, I don't really know how it will work out because the simple reason we don't know about his batting, and honestly, in the IPL gelling with the attack, we haven't seen him before. So yeah, that's the reason why. So done those teams. Then Rajasthan Royals. Now Rajasthan Royals, Chris Morris became, I think, the highest IPL bid. Kind of attracted the highest price in history, 16.25 crores, overtaking Yuvraj Singh. And the thing is, I was very. I understand Rajasthan Royals wanted to really fill a role, and you saw Mumbai Indians also going, for a high bid as well. But I thought there was a difference. For Mumbai Indians, you look at the fact they needed an overseas pacer, kind of a third seamer, and also Chris Morris. The reason why teams go for him and are prepared to pay the big bucks is because he not only provides a bridge between the middle and lower order, he also can be an influence with the bat as well, and also bowls very well. And so that's the reason why, despite the fact he can be expensive sometimes, you see that he does get you wickets, and when he's bowling well, he's very good. And so that seems like I can understand why teams are prepared to pay the big bucks for him, but at the same time, I don't really. 16.25 crores for someone who is the thing, he hasn't played a game since IPL 2020. He's getting older and he's very injury prone, and his batting isn't quite what it used to be. And that's the thing, is that I'm not sure how. And plus, here's the thing, so if they have David Miller, and plus, I then thought the fact that they could still play some local players, but let's say if they really wanted to play David Miller, so there's Josh Butler, Ben Stokes, David Miller, they can only play either Archer or Morris, and they'd obviously play Archer, and so then Morris would miss out. And so the thing is, we all thought that David Miller would, especially I thought that David Miller would be able to get that spot in the middle order since Stephen Smith isn't there, but in the end, now there's another overseas player, so he can't get in there either. And so, yeah, that's honestly the fact that. Apart from that, there's this one problem I think they just didn't address, and that was the Indian pacers. In fact, they completely didn't address that. It's they released the pacers that they had, some of the pacers that they had, and they just kept the same attacks and kept the faith in the same balls, which isn't a bad thing because you have got 2 other pace bowlers overseas as well. But yeah, they didn't really buy these Indian pacers, and if Morris turns out to be expensive, which he can do, then and more often than not does, despite the fact he does take wickets. It will also be very interesting to see how they manage. And I honestly think that it's a pretty good team. You look at in the batting, I think Butler opening with I reckon either Yashasvi Jaiswal or Manan Vora. You look at Sanju Samson 3, Ben Stokes 4. Then I think Tewati at 5. I understand you think it would be a bit undercooked to have him at 5, but it is what it is. Then Rian Parag 6. And I'm trying to think, Morris 7, Archer 8, and then the Shreyas Gopal maybe not, so that you can see how much batting this team has. Karthik Tyagi 10 and Jaydev Unadkat 11. So it's actually pretty good. They also have Mustafizur Rahman as well, who I thought was another steal for 1 crore, only 1 crore. And you can bowl to death if Chris Morris gets injured, which would be very bad for Rajasthan Royals because they paid this much money for him, and also, as I said, this bridge between the middle and lower order, and also with the bowling he offers. But they would have another death bowler in Mustafizur Rahman in case that really worst case scenario happens. And yeah, that's Rajasthan Royals. And so then coming to CSK. Now CSK, they actually only bought really two notable things, and two big money buys as well. With that bidding war with Glenn Maxwell, I was very happy that they lost it, because if they had bought him and they weren't able to buy another all-rounder, who had some bowling as well, or kind of I say bowling because you look Moeen Ali and Krishnappa Gautam, they complement each other very well. You look at someone who's a left-handed batsman, right-handed off spinner, then left-handed batsman, I think, and left-handed off spinner. Left-hand off spinner. The thing is that you play one for more for their bowling when Krishnappa Gautam, and you play one, for obviously CSK need an off spinner, which is the reason why it's a very good thing they got someone who can be an aggressor with the bat and also bowl very good off spin. And so the thing is, they would actually rather have done that than go for Glenn Maxwell, who he does keep it tight and bowls it well, but he doesn't really turn the ball much, and kind of is a more of a trajectory bowler where he just bowls it flat. And that's the thing, is the fact that you're doing the CSK would have been a bit dissatisfied if they'd got him but not got anyone else. So I thought this was an overall a very good thing for them. The fact that they got two players that they would have liked to get. I thought they overpaid for Krishnappa Gautam a lot, because 9.25 crores. The thing is that with CSK, you see, they also paid a lot for Mohit Sharma. I think in 2019 or something. There's some, yeah, I think they actually hardly picked many players, but they really wanted Mohit Sharma, and then they got Mohit Sharma, and the thing is, I think it was like 5 crores or something. And so the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that I honestly what was I gonna say? There can be some cases with CSK especially that they really prioritize on getting the player rather than how much money they spend. But I really think Krishnappa Gautam has had, honestly, he's had, I would say in the IPL he's had one good performance in general, and that's his 33 now against Mumbai Indians, where he won the game. And apart from that, he really hasn't done anything. He went to Kings XI Punjab, hardly played, and then to CSK, he's come, and to go from that situation to a 9.25 crores, I really think it's a bit. I understand CSK wanted to get him, but I really do hope that it pays off in the end. And yeah, that's really all on CSK. They didn't have to do much, and I honestly think that they got Moeen Ali, who serves two purposes, as a batsman and as a bowler. So yeah, I thought CSK, did pretty well. And so yeah, I've done Punjab Kings, the Delhi Capitals, Rajasthan Royals, Sunrisers Hyderabad, CSK, KKR, RCB, and who else is that? I'm trying to think. Oh wait, Mumbai Indians. Yes, Mumbai Indians. Mumbai Indians, so again, yeah, they hardly had to do it. In fact, actually, I was surprised that, actually not surprised, this is the thing. They actually really wanted to get Chris Morris, because if they had got Chris Morris, I don't think they would have got Coutinho again, honestly, and I don't think they would have got Adam Milne either. They may have got one of those two. I think is Adam Milne is no longer, for a number of years now, he's no longer the fastest bowler in New Zealand, so I don't think that they would have got Adam Milne. I think they would have still got Coutinho. And I think that they really wouldn't have wanted to pay 5 crores for him, but they didn't have to really get anyone else, and so they got him. And if they had got Morris, that would have been their team complete, really. Apart from him, that was the one thing. They also needed a spinner, and they got Piyush Chawla, who's an IPL legend with more than 150 wickets, and has only had one bad season, which is actually in IPL 2020 for CSK. And so the fact that they've got him, I think is a very good thing for them. And if they just got Morris, it would have capped it off. I'm not sure they would have really been able to. Maybe the funds would have been a little bit, stretched if they had paid, let's say, 10 crores for Morris even, because they would have tried to. I think they only had like 13 or 15 crores. So it depends to see if they could. They may have just been able to fit both of those two in. So even if they got only 2 players, it would have been very good for them, as their team would have been complete. And they also, I think the last player who was bought in the day, was Arjun Tendulkar, and yeah, I mean, we all only. I was, happy that no other teams, tried to bid, and even probably they didn't really want to disrupt the peace in a sense, because you obviously think that if there's any team that he would go to, it would be Mumbai Indians. Now, here's a topic that people open up on, about this, and there's two angles to this, because still this whole nepotism debate where I don't think this is very good for the player, because he does recently has started playing cricket for Mumbai, and so I don't really think that it is that it's not very respectful to the player. And also he has scored a 77 of 30 balls recently, picked up 2 wickets in that game, and so I say, yeah, I mean, he's not bad by any means, and so I honestly don't think that it's really that great to write kind of raises debate about a young person really like 21 years old. But I'm saying there's also this thing where there are good players, but is he really at the you could say is he really at the has he got the amount of success under his belt for him to get an IPL contract when you look at I understand these other players are overseas players, but you look at the likes of, this is another batsman here, but Alex Hales and stuff, that they weren't sold. And so that's why I'm saying that. And someone actually in the Crick Buzz Live thing, when everyone's talking about nepotism, someone actually said it in a very in a good way. They said more than the whole nepotism thing. It's like if someone else had the same experience and the same level of success that Arjun Tendulkar had, would someone who wasn't a Tendulkar be bought? And that was a very good question, because maybe, I'm quite probably the answer may have even been no. And so that's the reason why I'm saying that there's two ways to look at this, but I don't. There should be a balance between really soiling the happiness of that player that he's got an IPO contract, and also a thing to consider that really I was surprised that if any other player had got that level of inexperience, would they have even been able to even think about getting an IPO contract? And the answer is probably no. And so yeah, that's my take on that. And another thing, I thought there was something that was very I didn't like something at all, which was what happened to Hanuma Vihari, where there was this thing where the last 5 players where people would bid for, and someone clearly put his name down, otherwise it wouldn't have been called up, and his name wouldn't have been raised. And so it was very, very disrespectful, I thought, because especially he's someone who wasn't thinking he was going to get picked by anyone. He's a test match player, and you kind of just, why would you put his name when you're not really going to pick him? Maybe it was a last minute decision not to pick him and so on, but even then, he isn't a T20 player, so why would you put his name there? And it was really disrespectful, because he was probably not even expecting to get an IPO contract, and then they were just extended that a little bit more. And he's an international player who's in India's test squad, and drew a test match, brilliantly for India. And this, then, after that test match, India went on to win that series. And so what I'm saying is that I really feel that, look, here's someone who plays in the highest level. Test cricket is the highest level of cricket. Now, he may not be a T20 player, but really, I mean, he doesn't have to no one has to take a little bit longer and have this sense of false hope that they're going to get picked, when in reality it's just some kind of either, maybe last minute change of mind when someone, put his name down, or just simply just picking a random player for the sake of it and putting him in, and thinking that he was probably there was a sense of pedigree about him because he is an India player, and so kind of playing for the national team. And so I really thought it was disrespectful, for him. And yeah, that was my take on that. And there's another test player, Cheteshwar Pujara, who is bought a base price for CSK. Now, I don't understand what they were thinking with this. Maybe, if he plays a few games, I mean, as they said on Crick Buzz Live, if he plays a few games, it'd have to be, they have to test him out at the start and then leave him out, because there's also the moment he was bought, I was thinking, there's one thing that, would he rather go play county cricket in England, especially with an England series coming up? And the thing is that, he loves playing test cricket. He's, better at test cricket than any other format, despite the fact his list A records actually is pretty good, but not his T20 records isn't that great. But is someone who enjoys playing Test cricket and really likes the fact, getting exposure and batting in these other countries, and especially, as I said, an England tour coming up. I think that he may, even if he doesn't get a game, or even if he just thinks, what's the point of me going and sitting there when, I'm not really a T20 player and there are other players who are better for the job. I may as well just go and, gain more experience by playing in the county season and getting some kind of a game plan that I can adopt when I go to England and, we play the series. And so that's my take on Pujara. It was an emotional buy, but I really don't think that it was going to really amount to anything. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and please share this video with your friends. And remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?